Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're decoding the Bermuda Triangle, myth, science, and the unknown. The legend of this fiercely debated region really kicked into high gear back in 1945. That's when Flight 19, a squadron of 5 U.S. Navy torpedo bombers, just vanished without a trace over the Atlantic. And the craziest part? The rescue plane sent to find them disappeared too. That single terrifying event sparked a frantic, global search for answers that honestly hasn't stopped since. Everyone was suddenly asking, what exactly is happening out there in that roughly triangular patch of ocean between Miami, Bermuda, and Puerto Rico? Okay, let's dive into this. Are we dealing with aliens, the legendary Lost City of Atlantis, or is it all just really, really bad weather? For decades now, people have fiercely debated whether the Bermuda Triangle is an actual supernatural hotspot, where the laws of physics just take a vacation, or if it's simply a heavily trafficked, severely misunderstood body of water. And that's exactly the ultimate question we're unpacking today. We're going to cut right through the folklore and look directly at those historical claims right alongside the hard scientific evidence.
Part 1, the wildest conspiracy theories. Because as you'll see, when massive planes and ships vanish without a trace, human imagination tends to step in and fill those blanks with some incredibly dramatic ideas.
Following those high-profile disappearances in the mid-20th century, public intrigue absolutely skyrocketed. And remember, this perfectly coincided with the dawn of the space age and a massive surge in sci-fi pop culture. So theories escalated quickly into the supernatural. First up, extraterrestrial interference. Prominent writers at the time seriously argued that advanced alien tech was actively abducting human aircraft. Then you had the whole legendary Lost City of Atlantis angle, with claims that remnants of an ancient civilization were just resting right there on the ocean floor. And if that wasn't wild enough, others were fully convinced the region contained actual time warps or interdimensional portals, literally swallowing massive vessels into a totally different reality. Basically, people were desperate for an explanation big enough to match the sheer scale of the mystery. Let's actually zoom in on that Atlantis theory for a second, because it really highlights just how creative these explanations got. So the theory goes that this ancient lost city, buried deep beneath the ocean, houses these ancient crystals or some sort of highly advanced unknown technology. And proponents believe these sunken relics are actually still active, shooting out powerful energy fields that mess up modern compasses and aviation comms. You kind of have to appreciate the irony here, right? Blaming a mythical sunken city's magical crystals for short-circuiting modern radio frequencies. It's a fantastic, highly cinematic story, the kind that captivated millions of paperback readers in the 1970s. But yeah, it immediately raises some pretty massive red flags for researchers. Which brings us to a crucial reality check. The myth, extraterrestrials, energy crystals, time portals, they offer these incredibly fascinating explanations. They make for amazing television. But reality? They fundamentally lack any verifiable scientific evidence. Like there is literally zero physical proof of an underwater crystal pyramid throwing off magnetic fields. So scientists and maritime investigators don't look for magic. They look for grounded, evidence-based, and highly practical explanations for these tragic disappearances. They dig into weather logs, flight manifests, and oceanographic data. So if there is absolutely no scientific proof of time portals or ancient energy crystals, what is really going on out there? That brings us to part 2, what science actually says. Let's break down the logical realities of navigating these waters based squarely on what researchers have actually documented over the decades. And this brilliantly illustrates the scientific perspective when we carefully separate those logical factors into environmental, logistical, and technological categories. Environmentally, you have to understand this region is incredibly volatile. It gets routinely hammered by sudden, hyperlocalized storms and hurricanes. Plus, you have the Gulf Stream flowing right through it, a massive, swift ocean current that can rapidly erase any evidence of a downed plane or a sinking ship. Logistically, we are talking about one of the busiest shipping and flight routes in the entire world. A massive volume of traffic naturally brings a mathematically higher probability of accidents. And technologically, context is everything. Less advanced historical aviation equipment, combined with notoriously harsh weather and inevitable human error, creates a very real, very non-mysterious recipe for disaster. Just to put that technological factor into perspective, try to imagine navigating the open ocean with a faulty 1940s compass during a sudden, powerful storm with almost zero visibility. It is absolutely terrifying. Connect that to our lives today for a second. Imagine trying to drive through a massive, blinding hurricane with a completely broken GPS and no smartphone to call for help. Now put yourself in the cockpit of an early 20th century aircraft, miles above a turbulent ocean, disoriented and running out of fuel. It becomes really easy to see how a simple human error, paired with older analog tech, could silently lead to an unexplained tragedy without leaving much of a trace. So here is the crucial point researchers actually find when they crunch the numbers. Despite the massive media hype, the endless theories, and all that cultural folklore, the actual accident rate in the Bermuda Triangle is not unusually high when you compare it to other heavily traveled areas of the ocean. Major authorities on maritime safety, including the U.S. Coast Guard, don't even recognize it as a specific geographic area of exceptional danger. And get this, global marine insurance networks like Lloyd's of London have historically charged the exact same premium for vessels traveling through this region as they do for anywhere else. They follow the risk, and the hard data reflects a perfectly normal rate of incidence for a heavily traveled area with volatile weather patterns.
Part 3, the true final mystery. Because while science logically explains a great deal, we do have to acknowledge that no single explanation solves every single story connected to this region.
And that leaves us with this fascinating split reality. On one hand, we have thousands of explained cases. These are disappearances that have perfectly reasonable, practical explanations, backed by physical wreckage and meteorological data. We know for sure a sudden squall or mechanical failure brought those vessels down. But, on the other hand, we have the unanswered cases. These are the mysteries that remain unsolved simply because there just isn't enough evidence left behind to analyze. When a ship or plane sinks thousands of feet into a deep ocean trench and the powerful Gulf Stream just scatters the debris, investigators are left completely empty-handed. It's not necessarily that the event was supernatural, it's just that the evidence is forever lost to the sea. Perhaps the greatest mystery isn't what's hiding in the Bermuda Triangle. It's why these stories continue to capture our imagination after so many years. I want you to really think about that quote for a moment. Even with all the logistical data, all the rigorous oceanographic science, and all the practical explanations right at our fingertips, human psychology is still endlessly drawn to the unknown. We actively want there to be a grand mystery. The idea of some anomalous zone defying the laws of physics, that is simply way more captivating to us than a tragic, mundane weather accident. Ultimately, the Bermuda Triangle remains one of the world's most fascinating mysteries. Whether you lean strictly toward the science of severe weather patterns and busy shipping lanes, or you still harbor a little bit of belief in ancient legends and things beyond our current understanding, the enduring power of human imagination is absolutely undeniable. It kind of makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other everyday phenomena are we currently turning into modern myths, just because we don't have all the answers yet? Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep questioning the unknown.